And on top of what Matt is saying too, so it's not that we will eliminate prototyping completely in the future. There will always be differences in models and real behavior, and we're quite aware of that, right? We want to minimize the amount of time you take in physical prototyping and push that towards the virtual side. And on top of that, many of our simulation engines have the capability to do testing with those prototypes, those physical prototypes, and capture that data and push that back into those same simulation engines. So if you're producing, for example, that product I was talking about earlier in heat dissipation, and you're doing analysis on that particular product, after you've prototyped it, you can drive that back in, so the next time you evaluate a product design that's similar to that, you have a better understanding of how it's going to behave in the real world. It's that continuous iterative process of driving data back into those engines as well. So
that's another key word to use. Prototypical modern manufacturing, say for OEMs, the ones that are producing equipment to go into factories. Ultimately, the reality is they build models today, right? And then they rework it and rework it and rework it and rework it and spend months, if not years, trying to perfect a design. And sometimes even then, it's not perfect. This gives them a giant leap forward where they produce one model, they start bending steel, they start welding aluminum, whatever. They go, it's not going to work. They thought it could, but we got them to the point where they have one rework. Or maybe they get it right the first time. So you could, in reality, doing this methodology, you could go from 18 months of a design build to several weeks. And I'm not kidding, we have customers doing that today, actively across the United States and the world.
I want to,
So can you get a leap forward right there?
I want to emphasize two things that Hunter said to all of you, and this might create more questions. Okay.
yep.
Let me emphasize 2 points that Hunter made that I think are really important to our discussion and as we proceed the next 6 months with curriculum. Is that Hunter said, A, he went to a very fine school, and hopefully someday we could create all kinds of Hunter Becks for future education. But he went to a very fine school, and what happened? You got out of school, and guess what? As we've said in my presentation and in Hunter's comments, they had to be retrained. Just like Boeing tells us every engineer they get from WSU or OSU, they start them at the bottom and retrain them because it's all academic, nothing's applied. That's the first point, that we need to really understand that. We're not trying to create the Hunter Beck on every one of our graduates. There's all kinds of jobs that will be required that fit into the very processes that he's talked about. So that's a really important point I think we need to stay focused on. Secondly, we're here talking about Siemens because they're one of the most advanced companies in the world, 67,000 United States employees. They are a U.S. company bigger than most U.S. companies, all right? And they're a worldwide company too, and we're also talking to other worldwide companies. Some of them use Siemens technology to integrate their machines. But we're talking to robotic manufacturers, we're talking to Rockwell, we're talking to a variety of people that can all be part, because what we want to do is educate people so that they understand the Internet of Things and how everything does connect and everything relates. And you use this app for this purpose or this tool for that purpose. And if we can create those types of people with understanding of the modern world and what apps and how to think things out, then we will really improve the livelihood and the capability of our students at Clark. Again, they don't have to have this degree. They can have all kinds of others. Hey, Newt.
So I'm really interested in Hunter's digital twin that we can bring into the schools and transmit that vision that these young people will, and older people will tie into because they can relate to that message from you. When they hear that message from me, they wonder how I can even understand or know.
Right. I'm interested in a digital twin of myself as well. So, other questions? Yes.
Yeah, I am Valerie, I'm the Chief Information Officer for Clark.
Mhm.
Could you tell me what the clarify the association between Siemens and DMDII and the massive open online courses that are associated with DMDII?
Yeah. So we've been involved with DMDII. Siemens has since their inception. So they have a parent company, UI Labs, They petitioned to the federal government for the original grant to start up that facility, and Siemens and a number of other corporations were a part, including Rolls-Royce, Microsoft was on the original petition, a number of other quite large companies that petitioned to the federal government to start that institute. And so now we are a tier 1 partner of that facility, and so we're involved in a variety of different ways. We actively fund and participate in research and development projects that they have ongoing. We also have a showcase floor there where we're actually, and when I say showcase, that sounds like it's all smoke and mirrors. We have our live systems on the floor operating together so that we can show people that what I was talking to you before, I know it seems very futuristic and far out, but at the end of the day, it's actually happening today, and we're executing on those projects. So now as far as their courses go, I know we've been involved with that side of their business. I can't say that I know a high amount of detail on that particular portion, though. But I'm sure, I mean, if you don't already have some contacts at DMDII, then I mean, I sit there, I know, I get coffee with all of them. So
and Valerie,
happy to help.
We have made those contacts, and we're starting to get all that. Some reports, I think maybe you got one too, or not yet, but the curriculum committee has them, and we'll be dispersing those this week to get more input.
Good, good. Yes.
Joel.
So from a 10,000-foot level, and I don't want to steal your thunder, Brian, maybe you're going to be talking about this later, but for our facility and our program, what does all of this mean in terms of the kind of facility we have to have, the kind of equipment we would have to have, and the type of instructional expertise we have to have?
So let me take a first stab at that. We're figuring that out, all right? We have Travis, we've got Genevieve, we've got Kevin Witt. We've instructed them, asked them to create a consensus and an alignment so that we all know how do we meet the needs of employers, whether they're from Siemens or Boeing or Rockwell or wherever, as well as local and regional people. You know, what are those skill sets? And then secondly, how do we integrate and get as much of the types of machinery that is modern and integrated? And how do we maintain that in perpetuity so that we have labs where people can learn so that when, just like Hunter said, when he walked out, he had to start over, right, in a way. And I think, as Hunter also said, he said if we could teach people 1/10 of what he taught, they taught, we'd be way ahead of almost every other educational institution. So we need to figure this out, and we're right in the middle of it. You know, what do these labs look like? What type of machinery is there? How do we maintain it? How do we afford it? How do we develop joint venture partnerships with the community, with local business, with K through 12, so that we can turn out students that have a future and not just a promise? And every one of our employer advisory groups will say, hey, you've been taught well, and we want to hire you.
Just because my voice doesn't carry, but this is a unique opportunity for Clark. You know, we work with a lot of educational facilities across the country, across the globe, but a lot of them are very established in their engineering programs, and they may say, hey, we've got an existing electrical engineering program. We're interested in the digitalization of virtualization software. So they'll come to us and they'll ask for academic grants and work with us in software. Or we're working on a mechatronics program. We want to deal with mechatronics, or we want to learn machining. And they take bits and pieces of what we can offer. And we work with these universities with academic grants and with training programs and certification programs, and we have that structure in place. What we're talking about right now with Clark is a whiteboard, right? We can redefine this. So we don't have to worry about legacy things on this program is over here, we don't want to touch it. We're talking about building everything up. So this digital thread, this opportunity to go from the shop floor to the top floor and connect everything in between, ISA 95 model, is completely possible for us. You know, we looked for examples across the globe. There isn't any. There isn't any today. So we have an opportunity here in Clark County with Clark College to define a program that will set an example. Some other universities are talking about this right now and talking about moving this direction. You guys have an opportunity to be the tip of the spear and to really drive technology and a holistic approach that really brings a unique value to this market. So
Toby? No, that's right. We are. We've been discussing that very point. We do have some professors or teachers that can rise above to the next level, and they're anxious to do so because they know that they too will become irrelevant 10 years from now. But we're also very much open to the idea of contract people who would be here for 2-3 years and teaching a lot of this to us with our industrial partners. We plan to have I don't know if you've read the case study, but we plan to have a board of advisors of corporations and companies, and we'll get a lot of help from them also. Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that's the same model here, okay? And we've already been meeting with some Siemens and Rockwell customers, and they're saying the same thing. We want to be part of this. We want to find out who we can work with at Clark College as graduates. It'd be really a great way of recruiting them and figuring out who we want to hire. So, Toby, we're just in this process. 2021, that campus will open. Travis, Genevieve, Kevin Witt on the more commercial side, because that's the retraining side. I mean, if we do this right, we're going to have a tremendous opportunity to train and retrain current workforces as well as graduates. And so we just got to do this right, think it out thoroughly, and if we'll do that, we'll be very unique, and we will help all of the kids in this market, and perhaps others that will come for training, to have a quality of life in the future that it will exceed what they couldn't get otherwise. Yep. I'm sorry, what?
Invite me back. Invite me back. Love to come back to Portland. I'm sorry?
I live here. We only can have one at a time.
Yeah.
Wait.
By the way, if you read the background, Brian is a penguin. Okay.
Thank you so much.
So Brad, I just want to thank you so very much for what you are doing, not only for our foundation board, but for Clark College as well as the community. This is a man of integrity and extreme passion for this community, and we are so blessed and so grateful to have you with us. And we are giving you today the Champion Award, and this is our award for board members that go above and beyond. And in terms of the call to action for give, communicate, and connect, this is the communication and the connection piece. And Lisa, you've got the give piece.
I don't know about you, but I am so inspired as to what this is going to entail. And thank you, Siemens, for what you have already provided and what the partnership is going to look like. But Cherie had mentioned that connecting, communicating, and giving is a part of our motto today. And Brad, as well as Marie. And Marie, can I have you stand for just a moment? This wonderful lady, you know, they go hand in hand, and this wonderful lady is a penguin. Yes, she is not only a penguin,